I'd like to welcome everybody and thank everybody for coming. I see a lot of familiar faces, and I see a lot of faces that I don't recognize too, which is great. So I'd like to introduce Virgil Sampson, and Virgil is going to come up and say a few words, and I'd like to thank him. Because we're on Coast Salish territory, it's incredibly important that we follow Coast Salish protocol. So I'd like to bring up Virgil Sampson to say a few words. So thank you.
Thank you, Brad, Lynn, Abby. My name is Glenn, and my English name is Virgil Sampson. And I'd like to thank everybody for coming here, my brothers and sisters, and Mayor Cross and his council, and Mayor Fennell and council. Thank them for showing up. All the artists that are here. This year's, we're pretty excited about this year. Being up here at the Mary Winsphere. And we really like to thank Richard and them for taking this art show this far, for having us at the Tillista Park, which was a lot of fun down there. So I'd like to thank Richard Julian too, and his crew for bringing us this far. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this year. You know, we've been talking with Richard and Brad and sharing some ideas on the direction we want to go with this art show, the First Nations Metis Inuit Invitational Art Show. And we've been hammering out some ideas for months now and a few years with Richard. So we got a lot of really exciting things happening in this show and some future shows. And but right now I'd like to call on my brother Muzz, James Sampson, to come up and sing a prayer song to open up the art show.
Thank you, Virgil. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all here to the Coast Salish territory. One of the things I'd like to say too as well to the committee here, to thank you for involving me in part of your opening today. And I hope you all enjoy the wonderful artwork that you're going to see, but in a lot of our ways of life, we start off with prayer. So the song I'm going to sing today is shared through one of our relatives from south side of the border, from the Skagit Valley territory. These people that shared their song with us are passed on now. But in the song, in the words in the song is going to be in their language. And what the words are is asking the Creator to clear the path, and that's what the song will be about, is to clear your path through the duration of this art show, that each and every one can see the different talents. So the song I'm going to sing is a blessing song. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, and we hope you all enjoy a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Call on Kevin Kramer to come down and from the Kwakwaka'wakw Nation to say a couple words, and I'm sure he's got a couple of very beautiful songs for us to pound out for us. Kevin Kramer.
Halabisitweges, the Kilzayalo Hakungam. Kilzayalo in our language means way back. Kungamas is a song. I think it'd be appropriate we sing, there's a song that comes from my dad's side called Hanak Dautla. Hanak Dautla means to carry on in the ways of the ones who came before you. Ima Pulam Yuso, carry what the old people passed to you. Second verse is Hanak Dautla, Tlakpa Pulam Yuso. Keep on using the sacred coppers. Those coppers which represent the history and the standing of the chiefs and everything that goes along with that. You know, the treasure boxes that speak of that particular family's history. The third verse is Hanak Dautla Didalam Yuso. Keep on laughing. It's our people's sense of humor that has really sustained us through some fairly humbling times. We're still here. We still practice, the traditions that are passed to us. And the last verse is Hanak Dautla Kamkwalam Yuso. Kamkwayala word represents eagle down as it falls to the ground. It represents peace. It represents spirituality. So, sing if you know the words.
Yeah. art store that was there when I used to go there.
No, I've never
It's
seen
like
it
the guys
either.
give you a speech on it and everything. I'll show you a picture of it later. It's rad.
It's saying counting behind and stretching and
I am brother. Oh, okay. Sherry, well, you see that? Oh, yeah, I was just looking at your side. Yeah. Metis. Oh,
My name is Jamin Zarowski, and I come from Namgis First Nation, which is Kwakwakiwak and Polish descent. And my mother was raised in Alert Bay, which is just north of Vancouver Island, and take a small ferry from Port McNeill over to Alert Bay. So that's where my family is from, and most of them have come to Victoria and resided there. And I grew up there since I was 5, and I love it in Victoria. I first was taught artwork, cultural style when I was 12, and 12, 13 up to 18, I was fully into it full time, just as a student through junior high and high school, and was mentored by some master carvers, Victor and Carrie Newman, and they're also Kwakwakiwak and Coast Salish. And since I was working on different projects with them, totem poles, glasswork, steel, jewelry, I developed a lot of understanding of the cultural meanings and the ability to carry culture from the past into the present, but show new meaning for the future, and show interpretation with stories and the legends that come from before. So I have 2 pieces here. This one wood panel piece I have, it's called Resilience. It brings together 3 different animal figures, a salmon in the killer whale eye, the killer whale, and then a frog. And it speaks to the different ecosystems that they live in, the fresh water and salt water, and the salmon that lives in both of them. So really integrating both worlds of ecosystems, and just knowing that we're not alone here. You know what I mean? And it's just empowering our animals and bringing them to life, right? We live so in the now, and it's like, okay, let's just take a step back and acknowledge, that we're not alone. This other one I have here, it's called Opportunity, and it's an eagle catching a salmon. And I really wanted to create a piece that was showing an action that not only brings resilience, but the accomplishment of hard work and devotion. When you have your eye on something and a dream, you go and get it, and you take the patience, and you look at your territory and where you're going, and you give it your all. And then when you know you've given it your all, you're going to come back with benefits. So I'm very happy to be a part of this art show, and I look forward to the 3 weeks that everyone's going to be sharing their culture, and I really appreciate it. So thank you.
Dawn Baron. I'm a Metis artist. I Right now I'm doing mainly sculpture because I took a course from David Hunwick about 3 years ago, and somehow that coincided with my getting my Metis card, which helps me to honor my Native ancestry. And it just seemed to give me a lot of creativity to create these sculptures. The first one I created is called Birth of the Métis Nation, and it shows the first mixed person with an Indian mother and a Caucasian father. And the other sculptures, this one is to honor the lost herds of bison that really, they were the heartbeat of the Plains people. And just, I get inspiration, somebody who looks after other people, caring hands. And this is Dream Catcher. And this, I also do some work in wax. So this is an encaustic piece with cast wax and encaustic in the middle there. Gateway to Dreams. And this last one is Green Man. I had a lot of fun getting leaves from my garden to use as models for Green Man to honor the earth and its bounty.
Oh, so I'm Tobias Tomlinson, and my heritage is Chickasaw Cherokee, which is from Tennessee, Kentucky area in the States. So one of the things around the Chickasaw and Cherokee is the Trail of Tears, and the symbol that was carved into rocks and trees and as they were being forced in the Trail of Tears was this symbol, so that they could find their way back to traditional territory. So this particular piece was done in a wood fire kiln, Anagama hillside kiln. So it's strictly fired with wood, so the ash falls on the pot, and this is where the ash starts to form crystals. And this was done up island, so each side of the piece is slightly different. So it's like the four directions of the medicine wheel as well. So that's that piece. I'm quite into symbols around my own heritage. So, like for example, this is a shaman, and there's one shaman on this side and there's two on the other, and they're dancing in a circle, and the points represent the months or special holidays. So this is the tongue of the shaman coming out, and the story that the shaman is telling it becomes a spiral. So a lot of my designs have spirals in them because it represents the stories of the tribe. Like this one's, it's hard to tell what this is, but this is actually a gar or northern pike. So going around the pot. So one of our fish like that we have back home, but here it would be salmon, but there it would be northern pike or gar. A lot of the food things that we use are like I'm blank. What is this? This is sumac. So the sumac has red berries in the fall, and it's used. You crush the berries, and you can make a tea with it. It's very high in vitamin C. You can also crush it even further into like a powder, and it's added as a flavoring for cooking. And there's other things around food. So there's clam shells, and there's rabbits. There are food-based things. And this one is ginger. It's a wild ginger, and again, it's used for healing your herbs or for stomach or for clearing your thoughts as well. The one new thing that I brought this year were these small little bowls. They're based. I found a very small one that was like this. There's 31 holes on the side of the bowl to represent each of the days of the month, and it's a ceremonial bowl. So for burning sweetgrass. So you turn the bowl as you're burning to remember what was happening during the month. So it would be like a monthly thing that you would do. Yeah, most of the things that I make, it's like I spend time making them, and it's a process of creating the piece itself before I start to carve. Then I start to work on, well, what is the image that's going to fit on that piece, and then I go back and work on that and think about that and how that's going to look. I'm starting to play with, like you can see here with this is Tree of Life. So I've started with a smaller one, I made a bigger one. The one side represents the maternal side and the other side represents the paternal side of the family. So it talks about the relatives of who's in your family. So you can tell the story of who you are from the tree. So depending on what's happening, if you're like, well, I remember my family, then I can remember my partner's family and how that might feel. That's like a meditation in a way. So I hope that's enough. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Debbie Hunt. I'm a Kwagilth artist from the Kwak-Kwak-Kiwak Nation. I'm here at the Sydney Winspear Center art show. On the table we have some of my prints, and I have jewelry. This is my baby here. This is repoussé and chasing. So this is all straight hammering. So it took me about a month to do this, and when you put it on, it has that 3D look to it. It's an abstract whale design, and I absolutely love this process of working in copper, and I've started one in silver. There's not too many Northwest Coast artists doing this right now, so I'm pretty happy to be one of the few doing it. The eagle sculpture here, both Rodney and myself worked on it. Rodney did the carving on it, and maybe you can speak to that.
Hi, my name is Rodney Loonskin. I am from Cree Nation, and I've been in Victoria for about 18 years. And this is my wife, Debbie, and I've watched her grow as an artist in the last 12 years, 13 years, 14 years. And I just love her creative process. It's so calming. And this is a piece that we did together. I carved it. It's out of red cedar. It's all one piece. It's all intricately carved. And then she helped me with the painting. We did the designing together for the painting.
The nice thing about this piece is the natural grain of the wood makes it look like a feather. The wing design.
Yeah, on the inside, so that's why we just kind of left it natural, so it looks like it was meant to be that way with the wings.
Yeah, it sort of spoke to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very nice piece. We get a lot of compliments on it, and somebody will want it to be in their home too.
And then we have my prints here. The designs are generally traditional. Wolf, the raven releasing the sun. This is a Tlingit beaver, because I have Tlingit ancestry, so I was happy to do that one. The 4 butterflies. The thing that you find with my artwork is that these are really vibrant colors. So I do traditional designing, but I bring out different colors that make it look really contemporary, very different. The 2 frogs have the sun designs in the lily pads, sun faces. And my frogs look happy jumping from their lily pads. I like that. The hummingbird is the most popular one, and I think it's because it has the very vibrant flowers in there. It's almost like, what do you call those? Not Chinese
Lotus
cherry?
flowers.
Cherry blossoms?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the salmons were my first design just over a year ago, and I like that because they all have eggs in their bellies. So I like to say that they're coming home, and circle of life, and Thunderbird and whale. The Thunderbird is so strong that it can pick up a whale with its talons and carry it to wherever it wants to go. So he's very powerful in all of our stories. The sun design sort of speaks, it's the bringer of light to Earth. This sort of has a carved look to it in the middle, and then it has abalone in all of the rays. And the double whales here, my last one, because whales have mates for life, right? And so that's why it's a double whale. And they're just going through life together, and I really like that, and why I did two instead of just the single one. And they're guardians of the sea, so they're making sure that everything is the way it should be.
Okay, so Stephanie, talk a little bit about your, is there anything else I need to know about the drones?
Was there any valid?
Oh, these, the smaller ones, are for children. Screws and things. Here's some Excel.
Everybody, my name is Lionel. I'm a Haida from Haida Gwaii. The English people and the Americans call me an Indian, which I'm not. Haida Gwaii is about 1,000 miles from the U.S. border. And about 200 miles from the Alaska border down south. Argillite is what I primarily work in, and this is that's a shark. We have baby great white sharks that they come up north to give birth. They don't feed, but when they head back down south, they use that. So I use the rock is called argillite. It's only found on Haida Gwaii. This is a replica of right there. This is a replica of a headdress. It's a chief's bear headdress. Those are actual bear claws. The one that's over to the right is a replica of a bear pole with its actual bear teeth on it. And this is these are traditional smoking pipes. The furthest one in the back is a traditional bear pole. It's a traditional one. The one in the middle is a frog pipe, which, if you see the stem, is a snake. The snake and this one's an eagle, which again it's the year of the snake. This is a painting of my sister. Her name is Sonia. I had such short notice to make this, but I made it within 2 weeks, all of this stuff. My name is Jakanung, and that means crybaby in my language. And thank you very much for this interview.
Weeks Swatnala, Nuk Juste Sagame, Utlan Lacha Namgris, Lumamalet, Quaquaquak, Kenike, O Kai Kin no Kai Kiachea Tlilanama, Nikida Bakwam Zikesh. My name's Kevin Cranmer. I come from the Namgris, the Mamalelatla. Two of the tribes that make up the Kwakwaka'wakw people, Kwakwala speaking people, which is what Kwakwaka'wakw means. Our territory is the northeastern tip of Vancouver Island and some of the adjacent mainland. That's where the village sites of our 16 tribes, where they have existed, going back at least 10,000 years. Very happy to be a part of this show. I was asked by an old friend, Virgil Sampson, to partake in this show. So was more than pleased to come here tonight and see all the other wonderful artwork and meet and talk. And I think that's probably the most important thing, because the one thing that I always say is that for our people anyway, our artwork is it's the visual or the aesthetic expression of where we come from, where we descend from. And it's always important to verbalize that, to tell people the meaning of it, you know. That's what gives it life, that's what gives it spirit, that's what gives it depth. So I apprenticed with my uncle Tony Hunt. I also worked with my cousin, George Hunt Jr. I should also say that these are two of the chiefs of the Kwakiutl. Tony Hunt is Nakapankim, one of the hereditary chiefs of the Kwakiutl. George Hunt Jr., Negeji Yaslawat, one of the chiefs of the Kwakiutl from Fort Rupert. I also had the very fortunate to work with a few of the artists from the Nuchanoth, Tim Paul, the late Art Thompson, very knowledgeable men. And I think that's probably the greatest thing, is that that's also part of our traditions, is to pass these things on. And I feel very lucky that these great men were not selfish with their knowledge, that they know the importance and the meaning of it, to continue on tradition. So it's important to share it and to pass it on, because we are the current keepers of that knowledge. You know, it's up to us it's important to pass it on. So thank you to the teachers. You know, the work I think that you put out, it shows. If it's telling. If you paid attention, if you learn the right way, then it will be translated through your work. If you do it correctly, then that's an indication that you were taught the right way. So what I mean by that the art is the expression of who you are and where you come from, there's one piece here. This is a miniature raven frontlet. The actual size of a raven frontlet would be probably 6 or 7 inches in height, probably by 6 inches, probably about 7 inches in height, probably about 6 inches wide. Now, the right to wear the raven frontlet comes from the matriarch of our Hunt family. That would have been my great-great-great-grandmother. Her name was Anislaga Mary Ebbets. She came from the Drift Ashore House in Tongass, Alaska. And when she married into the Hunt family, she brought over one of the treasures she brought over as part of her marriage dowry was the raven. The raven is one of the main crests of the Hunt family. And she was also a chilkat blanket weaver. Chilkat blankets were traditionally woven out of mountain goat wool and cedar bark. There's about 23, 24 weavers in the world today, and they use a more modern form of wool. But it's an amazing thing to see. It takes about a year to weave one blanket. Anislaga had 10 children, wove one for each one of her children, including some of her grandchildren. So amongst our people, the Kwakwaka'wakw, not everybody has the right to wear the raven frontlet, the chilkat blanket. You have to be connected to it in that way, through bloodline, through marriage. It's very specific. the regalia that you wear, like I say, it speaks of your history and from where you descend. So that's just one of the examples, yeah. And this bottom piece here is what they call Namkhulagiu, one of the original ancestors of my father's tribe, the Namgis. And in that creation story, after the Great Flood, Namkhulagiu came ashore at the mouth of the River Guatni, our Nimkish River, and transformed into the first man, whose name was Namukustolis. And this man began to build his big house on the banks of the river. And there came that point in time when he had to lift the huge cedar support beams into place, and he was by himself, was unable to do it. So he sat down and pondered this. How am I going to do this? I wish somebody would help me. And right at that moment, a thunderbird landed on a large rock nearby, Quinusila. And Quinusila lifted his bird face, and there was a human face underneath. And also being a supernatural creature, Quinusila said, I will help you. And they say that Thunderbird was so enormous that he could catch killer whales like eagles catch salmon. So he took these huge cedar beams in his talons, flapped his wings, and put them into place. And when the work was done, Quinusila removed his bird skin and became a man. And these two men became two of the first men of the Namgis. So that is what that Namkhulagiu speaks of. One specific origin, one specific place. So that's why it's always important to know what you're creating, from where you're drawing it from. And that's probably the most, that's probably the neatest thing, is everything that we're able to create is something that we're connected to. And that's what I mean by the art form being the visual expression of where you come from and where you descend. Tells a story. Yeah. The most important dances are done first when we pasa, or when we potlatch. And these are two masks. The long one is called the hukuk, and the shorter one is called raven humsums, and they're part of the humsamala. And there's actually 4 different birds: hukuk, raven, crooked beak, and glukwamp. These are the 4 servants of the cannibal spirit Bakbakwalanuksiwe, who lives in his house at the north end of the world. And you see
See you in the morning.
The cedar bark is the inner bark of the cedar tree, for the leggings, for the skirts. And cedar bark, before contact, this is what our clothing was made of. You know, you could make clothing out of it. You could pound it to the consistency of toilet paper. You could use it for diapers, baskets, cedar hats. We are the cedar people. That's what we consider our tree of life. Our houses are made of red cedar, canoes. So, it's a very sacred tree. Yeah.
My name is Lindsay Dallaron. I'm a Mohawk from Ganawage, Quebec. It's my second year being part of the art show. I just want to acknowledge all the elders here today and acknowledge that we're on Coast Salish territory. And I've been here for about 6 years, and I'm pretty amateur in terms of my art practice, and I have lots of inspiration here on this island to look up to continue to develop my art practice, and I'm just really grateful to be here and be part of the show. Tobias asked me if I can share a song, and I'm going to share a round dance song from my community, which is in Ganawage. And so this song was taught to me. It's a round dance song. And I thought it'd be really fitting because I'm confident singing this song, and it kind of represents the circle and all of the First Nations coming together from different areas. So I'm going to share the round dance song.
Thank you, Lindsay. That was a beautiful song.